Formula tales are a very ancient form of folk tale. They involve some kind of repetition and pattern of development, often developing a rhythm in the saying. Like mathematics formulas, we know what to expect in formula tales. We may hear the same phrase repeated or the same chain of words or sequences repeated. In mathematics, there are formulas that help you solve an equation. For example, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Formulas help you know what to expect. They're predictable, and there's a certain amount of comfort and even enjoyment in their dependability. See if you can notice the patterns in this formula tale from Norway. And when you pick up on the pattern, feel free to join in. Once upon a time in Norway, there were 3 goats. A big goat, a medium-sized goat, and a younger goat. And all 3 of these goats were brothers, and all 3 of these goats loved to eat the grass in the valley. Everybody eat the grass. They ate the grass in the valley, and as they ate, they looked at each other, they sized each other up and said, "Are we fat enough?" And what did they answer? No. And so they kept on eating the grass, but eat the grass. Until one day they decided, they looked up the mountain, they thought they would be even fatter and even bigger if they ate the grass that was on the upper part of that mountain. And so they started walking up the mountain. And as they got up that mountain, they came to a gorge. It was deep. And they saw in that gorge there was a beautiful cascading waterfall, water flowing, and there was a bridge over that gorge. And so the youngest of those 3 billy goats started to walk across that bridge. Ready, rock? And when he came to about the middle of that bridge, he heard... And who was it?
Troll.
A troll, yes. And he climbed up and he said, "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" And the goat, the youngest one, the billy goat, he said, It's just me. I'm going to eat you up." "Oh, but I'm not the biggest." Was he? "Nah, you want to wait for my older brother. He's much bigger than me, a much better meal." And the troll let him go on. And over came the second brother, trip-trapping over the bridge. When he got about to the middle of that bridge, he heard something. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" And up came the
Troll.
And he saw the medium-sized goat. And the goat, he said, Oh. Did he want to be eaten? Nah. "I'm a-gonna eat you up." "Oh, but..." Was he the largest?
No.
Nah. "You want my older brother. He is much larger than me." Let him go on. And over came the biggest brother, the biggest billy goat. When he got about to the middle of that bridge, what did he hear? Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" And out crawled the troll. And the troll looked at that big old juicy billy goat. And did the billy goat want to get eaten? Nah, "I'm gonna eat you up." And what did that billy goat say? What did billy goat say? Nah. And he took his big hind legs and he 1, 2, get ready to kick, 3, and he kicked that troll down to the bottom of that gorge. And those 3 billy goats now, at the top of that mountain, they ate all the grass they wanted to. Everybody eat. And did that troll ever bother them again? Nah. Now that is a family that works as a team. What are the repetitions in this story? Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge? And of course, nah. Repetition invites us into the stories in a very expressive way. They make us want to say the story together. We so quickly learn that portion of the tale and feel confident in what to say. Repetition helps us all join together in the telling of that story. Repetition also helps us remember the stories. The more the repeated phrases are said, the more likely we are to remember the stories. So repetition is not only enjoyable, but it's a survival strategy for stories that people want to remember and pass on. And for these two reasons, quick learning and retention, formula tales are one of our oldest forms of folk tales. They're very traditional in the sense that the stability of the story, its tradition, is easy to pass on from one generation to the next. It's easy to learn and easy to remember. Let's test these ideas out on another formula tale, this time from Australia and England. There once was a little chicken named Henny Penny. One day, when Henny Penny was pecking at corn in the barnyard, all of a sudden, bonk, something hit her on the head. Goodness gracious me! Oh, the sky is falling! It must be! It just beamed me on the head! The sky is going to fall! I must tell the king! And so, on she went until she passed Cocky Locky. Where are you going, Henny Penny? Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, I'm off to tell the king. May I come with you? Says Cocky Locky. Indeed, says Henny Penny. So, Henny Penny and Cocky Locky went to tell the king. On they went until they passed Ducky Wucky. Where are you all going? Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, we're off to tell the king. May I come with you? Asked Ducky Wucky. Indeed. So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, and Ducky Wucky went to tell the king. On they went until they passed Goosey Poosey. Where are you all going? Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, we're off to tell the king. May I come with you? Asked Goosey Poosey. Indeed. So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Wucky, and Goosey Poosey went to tell the king. On they went until they passed Turkey Lurkey. Where are you all going? Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, we're off to tell the king. May I come with you? Asked Turkey Lurkey. Indeed. So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Wucky, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey all went to tell the king. On and on they went until they met Foxy Woxy. And Foxy Woxy asked them, where are you all going? Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, we're off to tell the king. Oh, but this is not the way to the king. Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Wucky, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey. No, I know the proper way. May I show you? Asked Foxy Woxy. Indeed. So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Wucky, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey all followed the fox. On they followed, till they came to a dark, narrow hole. This is the shortcut to the king's palace. Come, follow me. And Foxy Woxy climbed into the hole, which was really the entrance to the fox's den, where he was hungry, and his hungry family laid waiting for supper. Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, we must tell the king. In went Turkey Lurkey. Went Foxy Woxy. In went Goosey Poosey. Went Foxy Woxy. In went Ducky Wucky. Went Foxy Woxy. In went Cocky Locky. Went Foxy Woxy. But Henny Penny heard all the commotion inside, and she turned tail and ran home. So, she never got to tell the king that the sky was falling. Henny Penny is a particular kind of formula tale called a cumulative tale. You start with one detail of the story and you keep adding on to that detail, repeating and adding as the story progresses. In this story, we begin with Henny Penny and build to a whole line of animals. Cocky Locky, Ducky Wucky, Goosey Poosey, Turkey Lurkey, always accumulating in the same order. The formula in this cumulative tale is easy to pick up. More and more people join in the delusion and the need to go on this pointless journey to the king. The story teaches us that it's important to think for yourself and to question what others say, because they might not only waste your time with nonsense, the sky never was really falling in the first place, but you might also end up getting killed by following others into the fox's den and to your doom. Henny Penny is an end-of-the-world tale. It's Arne Thompson Uther tale type number 20, and specifically, it is a sky is falling tale, type 20C. Now, one folklorist describes this tale type as one in which storytellers from around the world make light of paranoia and mass hysteria. The numbers indicate that these tales are fairly common around the world. Stories like this one raise some very interesting questions, such as, have you ever copied what someone else was doing, followed after someone, or gotten caught up in the crowd? Sometimes it's hard to stop and think for ourselves when we see what feels like everyone else around us hurting towards a certain choice, even if we feel like that choice is ill-advised. What do you do when a bunch of your friends are choosing to do something that might not be the wisest course of action? How do you stop and think for yourself? The courage to do the right thing, even in the face of our friends' disagreement, can often be found if we've shared a few stories like these as a family. This story also adds on the element of rhyme to repetition. Rhyme and repetition are central to another form of language art, poetry. These two elements, rhyme and repetition, help create what is known in poetry as the ictus, or the internal beat of the poem. If you listen carefully, the repetitions and the rhyme in these formulas and formula stories produces a kind of beat. Listen. The sky is falling, we're off to tell the king. Some formula tales have such a strong beat that they lend themselves to being musical, and these are called cant tales or cant fables. A cant fable is a singing tale. It has some form of song or chant built in at key points in the story, interspersed with narration. In cumulative tales, it's easy to make up a tune to go along with the stories and turn them into cant tales. You remember the Musicians of Bremen story? That story was one that I told as a cant fable. So they went on the path that led through the woods and into the town of Bremen. Now, these kinds of stories are different from ballads, as we'll talk about in a later lecture. Ballads are sung throughout, whereas cant tales have a sung refrain, but also have major elements that are narration without musical elements. In the next story, the rhythms of the repetition in the story take on the form of a cant fable, and I invite you to sing along. Once upon a time, there was a little old woman and a little old man, and they wanted a child more than anything else. And so one day, as the woman was baking, she decided to make herself a little gingerbread in the shape of a boy. And she put him into the oven to bake. There you go now. And when she could smell the scent of ginger and warm spices flowing through the air, she opened the oven just a crack to see if the gingerbread boy was done. And whoop! Out jumped the little gingerbread boy through the opened oven door, and out the door he ran, with the little old woman and the little old man chasing after him. He ran until he passed some threshers threshing grain in the fields. And as he passed by them, he said, I ran away from a little old woman and a little old man, and I can run away from you too, yes I can. Run, run as fast as you can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And they ran after him, the threshers, the little old woman, and the little old man, but they couldn't catch him. And the gingerbread man ran until he passed some mowers mowing grass. And he called out, I ran away from a barn full of threshers and a little old woman and a little old man, and I can run away from you too, yes I can. Run, run as fast as you can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And they ran after him, the mowers and the threshers and the little old woman and the little old man, but they couldn't catch him. And the gingerbread man ran until he passed a cow in a field. And he called out, I ran away from the mowers and the threshers and the little old woman and a little old man, and I can run away from you too, yes I can. Run, run as fast as you can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And they ran after him, the cow and the mowers and the threshers and the little old woman and the little old man, but they couldn't catch him. And the gingerbread man ran until he passed a pig, and he called out, I ran away from a cow, and the mowers and the threshers and a little old woman and a little old man, and I can run away from you too, yes I can. Run, run as fast as you can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And they ran after him, the pig and the cow and the mowers and the threshers and the little old woman and the little old man. But they couldn't catch him. And he ran until he came to a river. And right at the edge of the river, there sat a fox. And the fox said, hop on my back, and I'll carry you across. And so the gingerbread man, he hopped onto the fox's back, and the fox began to swim across the river. But as the fox got nearer to the middle of the river, the water started to creep up on the fox's back. I'm getting wet, cried the gingerbread man. Oh, hop on my head, said the fox. And the gingerbread man climbed up. But then the water began to get close to the fox's head. I'm getting wet, cried the gingerbread man. Oh, hop on my snout, said the fox. And the gingerbread man climbed up on the fox's snout, and with a flick of his snout, the fox began to eat the gingerbread man up. Oh, I'm a quarter gone. Oh, I'm half gone. Oh, I'm 3/4 gone. And that was the end of the gingerbread man. There are many different versions of this story. The story you just heard is a combination of two different versions, the main part being from a version from the US, and the ending coming from an Irish version. In Norway and Germany, where the oldest forms of this oral tale are from, the animated edible creature is a pancake, and the pancake runs away down the lane. In Scotland, it's a wee bannock, or a roll. In Ireland, it's a little cake. And in Russia, the story is about a loaf of bread that is possessed by the devil. You may have your own household variant of a story. You could make up your own variant. What's your favorite treat food? And what would you think if that treat food came to life? Where do you think it would run in your community? Who would it talk to? What kind of personality would it have? And what kind of end would it meet? In all these versions, the gingerbread man is very good at getting away from all manner of other folks who are after him. What did the fox do that was different in order to convince him to get into a dangerous situation? Have you ever been tricked into making bad choices? And how could you be wiser next time? The rhyme and repetitions in cants and these formula stories, and the animal characters that they feature, tend to underplay the simple but powerful lessons that these stories hold. The message slips in and sinks into our memories through the repetition, as with this story that contains a powerful lesson about hard work. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen. And one day the hen was scratching with her little bird feet near the barn when she scratched up a little grain of wheat. Oh, look at that! Look at this! Who will help me plant the wheat? And she called to the rest of the animals in the barnyard. Not I, said the rat. Meow. Not I, said the cat. Not I, said the dog. Quack. Not I, said the duck. Not I, said the pig. And so the little red hen said, well, I will then. And she planted the little grain of wheat. And it sprouted up as pretty as any little grain of wheat you've ever seen, plump and nice. And she reaped the wheat. And then the little red hen called out again to all the other animals in the barnyard. Who will help me take this wheat to the mill to be ground into flour? Not I, said the rat. Meow, not I, said the cat. Not I, said the dog. Quack. Not I, said the duck. Not I, said the pig. So the little red hen said, well, I will then. And she took the wheat to the mill where they ground it into flour. And she carried the heavy sack of flour back home, and she mixed it up and kneaded it into a warm, puffy dough. And once again, she called out to the animals in the barnyard, "Who will bake this bread?" "Not I," said the rat. "Meow, not I," said the cat. "Not I," said the dog. "Not I," said the duck. "Not I," said the pig. And so the little red hen said, "I will then." And she put the dough into the oven. And when the bread was baked, and the smell of warm, yeasty goodness filled the air, well, the little red hen called out to the barnyard animals, "Who will help me eat this bread?" "I will," said the rat. "Meow, I will," said the cat. "I will," said the dog. "I will," said the duck. "I will," said the pig. But the little red hen said, "Oh, no, you won't." And she picked up the bread and ran off with it. The end. There's a poem that I keep by my coffee maker. I look at it every morning, and it carries the same lesson as this formula tale. The things are mighty few on earth that wishes can attain. Whate'er we want of any worth, we've got to work to gain. Let's hear one final formula tale, a classic that easily lends itself to being a cant tale. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears, a mama and a papa and a baby bear. The bears lived way out in the forest, and baby bear said, "Mama, I want some porridge." Well, Mama Bear mixed up some porridge, and she got out all of the grain. Everybody get out the grain? And she put it in her big bowl. She got out the milk. They get out the milk and poured it in her big bowl. She sloshed it around, heated it up over the fire, and she doled out some for the Papa Bear. She doled out some for the Mama Bear. She doled out some for the Baby Bear, but it was far too hot for any of those bears to eat. And so off bears went into the woods to wait until that porridge had cooled off. Well, just as soon as they were walking out of that clearing and into the woods, who came into the clearing but a little girl with golden ringlets in her hair, and who was very impish. La 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 la. She came skipping into that clearing, and her name was Goldilocks. She went walking right up, skipping up to that front door of that house. She didn't know who lived there, but there was something that smelled good inside. La 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 la. She went right in, and ooh, she saw 3 bowls of porridge, and she went on over. She went on over to the big bowl. She took the big spoon. Everybody take the big spoon. She took a bite. Too hot. She went on over to the medium bowl, and she took her medium-sized spoon. Too cold. But she went on over to the baby bowl. Took that baby spoon. It was just right. And she ate it all up. Everybody eat all of it up. And with that full belly, she went walking right over. She saw 3 chairs. She went on over to the papa chair. She sat down in it. Ooh, too hard. And she went on over to the mama chair. And she sat down in that mama chair, and that mama chair was so soft she fell right into that cushioning, and it nearly swallowed her whole. She disentangled herself from all of that fluff, and she went over to the baby chair, sat down, and it was just right. It had rockers on it. And so she sat there, and she started to rock. Everybody started to rock. And she rocked. She like, la, 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 la. She rocked faster and faster, and the faster she rocked, the more it creaked, and finally it fell to pieces right there on the floor. Well, she stood up, brushed herself off, and she was impish. And she was tired. And so that impish little girl, she went over and went over to the beds. She went on over to the papa bed. She laid down in it too hard. She went on over to the mama bed, which was exactly like the mama chair. And what did it do when she sat down? Swallowed her whole with all of that fluff. She just dang too soft. She went on over to the baby bed, and she laid down at it and la 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 fell right asleep. Well, right about that time, back from the forest came the 3 bears, the mama and the papa and the baby bear. They came back from a walk in the forest and came back home to eat their... Papa Bear went over. Someone's been eating my porridge. Mama Bear went over to her bowl. Someone's been eating my porridge. Baby Bear went over. Someone's been eating my porridge, and they ate all of it up. And a little tear came down Baby Bear's face. Well, they went over and they turned around. Papa Bear, he saw his chair. Someone's been sitting in my chair. Mama Bear went over. She saw all of the fluff. There was a dent right in the middle of it. It was all discombobulated. Someone's been sitting in my chair. Baby Bear went over to what used to be his... Someone's been sitting in my chair, and they've made a mess of it all over the floor. They went over to their beds. Papa Bear. Someone's been sleeping in my bed. Mama Bear went over. A whole Fluffy was just all up in a big ball of fluff. Someone's been sleeping in my bed. Baby Bear went over. Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and there she is. Ha ha. Well, right about that time, la 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 la, she woke up. And Goldilocks looked at those 3 bears, and the Papa Bear gave out a Papa Bear growl. Everybody, let me hear your Papa Bear growl. Mama Bear, she gave out her Mama Bear growl that was a little bit more medium-sized. Let me hear your medium-sized. And Baby Bear gave out his little teeny-sized growl. And Goldilocks thought that was the scariest growl of all. Away she ran home. Everybody run home. And that was the last they saw of Goldilocks. The end. It might surprise you to know that this story is not actually a folk tale in the sense of coming from an oral tradition. The 3 Bears was written by Robert Southey, who was an English poet laureate, and it falls into the literary tradition, like Hans Christian Andersen stories. And like those stories, this story is not orally derived or developed, but instead it's the invention of a writer. The rhythms of formula tales, which include cumulative tales and cant tales, are just plain fun to join in with. They're part of the charm and the staying power of this ancient genre of tale. Now we move from the number magic of the 3 little bears to our next section of stories, fables about lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Fables and pourquoi tales ask simple but interesting questions of the world around us. How can I be wise? Why does hamster have a short tail? We'll delve into these questions next.